lawyer, but an actor named Derek Dixon, who played the role of Dale on the BET series The Oval, recently filed a lawsuit against Tyler Perry, and I read all 46 pages of the complaint. So let me tell you why Derek Dixon is suing Tyler Perry for $260 million. Okay? And it really comes down to what the lawsuit says was Tyler Perry promising Derek creative opportunities, such as getting a role in a show or him promising to make a show Derek created, but it would require Derek having to deal with the harassment, assault, battery, and professional retaliation from Tyler Perry. The lawsuit starts with how Derek first met Tyler Perry, which was in 2019 at an event at Tyler Perry Studios. At the time, Derek was working for an event company that Tyler used for his events, and on the day of this event, Derek says Tyler, quote, picked him out of a crowd of employees and began asking him about his employment status and if he wanted to be an actor. At the end of the party, Tyler insisted that him and Derek exchange phone numbers, and almost immediately the two began texting. According to the suit, in some of these text messages, Tyler would be asking Derek about his dreams and aspirations, as well as his interest in writing and acting. And then one day, the lawsuit says that Tyler asked Derek to send him an acting audition over the phone, but Derek tells him he's at a Halloween party. So Tyler replied, asking to see pictures of Derek in his costume. Derek sends the pictures, and then the lawsuit says that Tyler responded saying, quote, I was gonna say, your cowboy needs a sugar daddy.
Listen. Okay, so let me come up. Hold on. Wait a minute, y'all. I want to say this, right? No matter what it looks like on paper or on text or, in writing, basically, if it's authenticated, it's not going to look good either way, right? For neither one of them. And some people will argue and say, well, Derek Dixon waited 6 years to come out and actually file a lawsuit. And how, even though Tyler Perry comes out with productions all the time and pretty regularly, it just seemed the timing was super coincidental that it's been a minute. And then during the first release of this newest production, The Straw, now all of a sudden, like I said, on the 13th, this lawsuit was filed. So evidently you had these text messages prior. They have been ongoing. This was at the beginning, according to the line and the timing of the testimony. So it pauses the question, why you wait so long? And why is it that 2 roles later, you knew what this man wanted? So let's call it what it is. Did you basically sell yourself for movie roles or for the roles that you ended up being offered and taking? Come on now, we got to call it down the middle on this. I don't advocate or defend one or the other. I don't know neither one of them. As I stated, not personally and not as far as statistically going about their past and all of that. Up until this case, I really didn't know anything about neither one of them and their past, their upbringing. But that's one of the first questions that I ask when something like this comes up, because there has to be some trauma. There has to be some type of a disconnect. There has to be something missing for people not to be able to utilize not just their discernment, but to act upon that discernment. You can have the gift of discernment and develop that muscle all day long. However, if you don't utilize the information, the knowledge, and the wisdom that is being imparted to you, what difference does it make? What difference does it make if you tend to go, and usually people that go against their discernment are looking at it from a carnal position. They're looking at the short-term outcomes or desired outcomes. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Let's continue, y'all. Shout out to the chat. Hey, Selena. Great live earlier. Appreciate you, babe. We got Brooklyn Lady Ellie in the house. Thank you so much for coming through. I just want to make sure I don't miss nobody. We got Miss Collins. Miss Collins with that hand palm on the face kills me. I wish I'd have seen it when you put it up there. I didn't know. I probably start laughing. We got, okay, I said hi to CC. And if there's anybody that I missed, charge it to my head and not my heart. Let's roll with the content.
You look great, you're just lacking costume parts. Sorry, don't want to offend. Derek replies to this message saying, not at all, it's so true, half-assed costume. And then Tyler Perry responds saying, what's true? Cowboy needs a sugar daddy. According to the lawsuit, this comment from Tyler Perry was him implying that he wanted to be Derek's sugar daddy. Now, shortly after this interaction, the lawsuit says that Tyler Perry held another event at his house and specifically requested for Derek to work the event, which meant he had to be flown from LA to Atlanta to be there. Now, following that event, the lawsuit says communications between the two of them continued, and during one text exchange, Tyler told Derek he would love to find him a job and change his life. He went on to say, quote, be careful hanging around me. I cause dreamers to dream big.
Okay. So, listen, y'all, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'm trying. I'm really trying. But common sense does not elude me. It does not escape me. If you know that somebody is coming on to you, they're interested in you, you're going to know it. Attraction, whether it's through text messages, whether it's in person, whether it's over the phone, he was going to make his interests known. I would have questioned it if he'd have picked me out as an employee at his event that had no prior acting experience, though he did have some acting education. He got a degree in drama, to my understanding, but no prior experience, no long profile, or what do they call it, resume, acting resume, right? Or calling card, whatever they call it in Hollywood. I'm gonna say Hollywood. Lord have mercy, help me. Okay, so with that being said, you done picked up on this man being interested in you. I would have asked why right off the rip. Why are you interested in me? And you picked me out of all of these people and all of these employees because you know of a man of his stature and of billionaire status is going to throw major events. None of them are going to seem small, but out of all of the employees, you selected me. So that's the first, even if I don't ask it out loud, I'm going to store it in my memory bank. But then you start texting me about topics that really are intertwined in what you think that I want, which is a role, an opportunity to act, to be under your umbrella, no pause, right? To basically get the opportunities that I have been grooming myself or preparing myself for all this time. And why me? Why not me, but why me? It would be that's just me though. May not be everybody else, right? Not saying that he lacks self-esteem or, anything of that nature, but these are just, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's discernment. I don't know if it's intuition. I don't know if it's just logical common sense. Not really sure. But when you got a man of that stature that can have anybody at his fingertips in a snap of a finger, why would you choose me? There is a why. Shout out to Laverne for throwing that out there and changing the trajectory of how I think about a lot of things, because everything has a why. Everything, there is an answer to a why. And that should be one of the first questions that you ask, right? What did Brooklyn Ellie say? Stardom, Miss Kimmy, and you're not them. Yeah, that's what I'm talking. Listen, come on now. Come on. I know I got some smart folk up in my tribe and in my circle. Let's go. Let's go. Because listen, from and you talking about 6 years of all of this, but then I'm gonna flip it and I'm gonna say that Tyler Perry wasn't no better. Because if somebody is striking your interest and he only has a certain, in your mind, level of value to bring, then why are you pursuing them so hard? Why are you trying to be so smooth with it? And then the terminology in the text messages leave a lot of ambiguity, leave a lot of open for interpretation. You can't just pin, not like Shannon Sharp, Lord have mercy, free Shannon Sharp, right? In all aspects, but his text messages, he left nothing to the imagination, right? So you got Tyler Perry, and if you're looking at it through the eyes through the court of law, then guess what? Neither one of them are looking good at this point. So you sold for $260 million. You'd have made money off of the man's production. And because he made the decision to do what he did, it may not have been in the right fashion, but it's his company in order for him to be able to make those types of decisions. And now you feel you ought to be compensated for something that you participated largely in. That's just my personal opinion. Let's go. I better be quiet.
I caused them to not only believe, but do. Then he says, you're an artist, you have to be fulfilled. Nothing else will suffice. The lawsuit says after that text exchange, Derek received an offer to play the part of a character named Dale in Tyler's TV series Ruthless. So Derek does the role, and about 1 month after filming that show, the suit says that Tyler Perry bought Derek a car because he, quote, hated Derek's Jeep.
I don't know of any grown man that cares about what another grown man drives. I don't personally know of any grown man that cares about what another person drives. Now, all of this is alleged. This is in the paperwork for the lawsuit that has been filed. So this is basically Derek Dixon's story. Has nothing, we haven't really heard, at least up until this moment, a definitive response from Tyler Perry to defend, to refute, or deny any of these allegations. But I'm just saying, speaking from my position as a seasoned aged woman, in all my days, I ain't never seen one grown man that employed another grown man and care what he drove. He would sign his paycheck and then he would move along. Hey, Takara, yes. So I made that disclaimer at the beginning of the video. Exactly. So I'm sure it's going to go through an authentication process. We will see. We're speaking from an alleged point of view based off of the information that is being pretty much regurgitated through the lawsuit. So I don't know how long, and that brings up the question too, that I'm not sure how long all of this has been evolving to the point where the lawsuit was actually filed. But I would assume, because they know that this is going to be a high profile case, that they do not like, especially the attorneys as well as the defendant, the plaintiff, are not going to want to put their reputations on the line for something that's not authenticated. But then again, the rabbit hole does go deep. So again, you know what? It's a matter of perspective on your opinion, personal experiences that form your opinion, but this is all alleged. So I just wanted to reiterate that point. But I just wanted to say, yeah, I ain't never seen a grown man that cared what another grown man drove to the point where he bought him a brand new vehicle, unless there was some other type of attachment. And then the thing is too, is that this man accepted that vehicle. He accepted it, okay, along with the monies. And this was by far, let's just bring this out too, this was his second role. So the first role that he was offered was after they met. They had already been exchanging information, text messages, interacting with one another, sending pictures. At least we see that Tyler Perry allegedly sent a picture to Derek Dixon, with some statements attached to it. But I'm just going to tell you, I ain't never seen it. Yeah, this was his second role. The Oval was the second one. The first one, I can't remember what the name of it was. It eludes me. I'll get it But yes, this is his second. Let's go, y'all.
So more calls, conversations, and events happened, and according to Derek, the conversations with Tyler Perry started to get strange. The suit says in one text, Tyler said, quote, "I can't tell you the last time I pumped gas or went to the supermarket or flew commercial or packed a bag or had good mex. It was before I was rich." Derek says he thought the messages were strange coming from Tyler, but he decided to downplay them in hopes that he would be able to showcase his acting and writing talents off to Tyler.
Okay, so that just confirms what was said. So okay, the first uh was a role on Ruthless. So his first role was on Ruthless and his second was on The Oval. He became more mainstream on The Oval because I want to say their familiarity between one another had escalated and grown. That's just my assumption. But again, this is all alleged. So definitely, as she just said,
Now, a few months after that text exchange, Tyler Perry invited Derek to his house.
so you got all of these different interactions going on over a certain timeline and a certain period of time, and he's not complaining. What he's doing is he's accepting whatever trinkets, whatever roles, whatever he has been extending to him during this time. I haven't heard of him turning anything down. And to me, that would be a red flag. So when did he find out that it was an issue? Because you gave him the silent treatment for a few months, and then when he came back, allegedly, he offered him the role. So they went through a 5-month span where they didn't speak, or he ignored Tyler Perry, according to his statement. And then when Tyler Perry counteracted because he wasn't getting a response with the role on Ruthless, then he responds, and not only responds, but he accepts the role. So yeah, it's just, the more you that is being revealed, the more that side eye kind of perking up for me. But that's just me. Let's go.
Derek goes over, they have some drinks, and the conversation was overall pretty friendly. However, according to the lawsuit, at the end of the night, Tyler Perry invited Derek to stay over since they had been drinking, and Derek goes to a guest bedroom where he strips down to his underwear because he didn't have pajamas and gets in the bed to go to sleep. According to the lawsuit, while Derek was laying in the bed, Tyler Perry came and slipped in behind him and started rubbing Derek's inner thigh. The suit says Derek jumped out of the bed and told Tyler that he wasn't trying to do that, but Tyler allegedly ignored him and instead told him to turn around so Tyler could see him in his underwear. And while Derek was telling Tyler he didn't want to do anything, he was also trying not to insult Tyler since Tyler was, quote, dangling his career in front of him. Now, this lawsuit doesn't say how that night ended, but it goes on to say that Derek would frequently tell Tyler that he didn't want to do anything with him, but Tyler would respond by prying into his life. As an example, the lawsuit includes a text message in which Tyler says to Derek, quote, "I would hope that you would let someone hold you and make love to you. You are missing the best years of your life, my friend. Trust me. I hope you get past that block in your mind soon." And according to Derek and this lawsuit, that text was Tyler implying that Derek would hopefully get past the block in his mind and let Tyler make love to him.
And that's alleged. That is not my words. If fair use is in effect, that is the interpretation of the young lady that claims that she read the 46-page lawsuit herself, right? So the first alleged assault was in January of 2020, followed, y'all, by repeated incidents on set and cast trips. I'm going to repeat that. In 2020, January 2020, that was when the first alleged assault took place, according to Derek Dixon. But it was followed also by repeated incidents on set and cast trips. Okay, now you're talking about a man, because we're going to get off into it, that it went from text messages to actual physical outside of this incident that she spoke on, that he claims where Tyler Perry got in the bed and rubbed on his inner thigh and all that. But it escalates from there, and you still work for this man. At what point do we stop sympathizing with you? Because if you tolerated it, why shouldn't we tolerate it for you? That's just my question. Let's go.
As a response to that text, Derek said, quote, "Well, it's not this person, but yes, I want that too. I'm working on it. Therapy is helping." According to the suit, as time went on, Tyler continued calling and texting Derek, and at first he wasn't answering until Tyler offered him a role in a new show called The Oval. The suit says that during his time filming The Oval, Tyler Perry's advances and harassment towards Derek only continued. There's one example in which Tyler allegedly told Derek, quote, "I give and give and give, and no one ever gives me what I want or what I need," which the suit says was Tyler Perry implying that Derek was not giving him what he wanted. And in another example, the lawsuit says that Tyler told Derek that he was a top and he preferred a man that was already in a relationship so that Tyler wouldn't have to deal with the emotional aspect of the person, just the physical. Once filming for The Oval began and Derek got the scripts for his character, he noted that at the end of the season, his character was written to be shot 4 times. Derek asked Tyler about this, and Tyler told him if he does a good job, his character may not die.
Which that wouldn't have been a concern had he not accepted the role. And the reason I say that is because to me, I would have seen that as a red flag. Why are you killing me off after 1 season? Am I not a good enough actor? I'm not bringing enough ratings because remember he had a previous role. So Tyler Perry had an opportunity to showcase for Tyler Perry and show his gifts, show his ability or lack thereof. So I would have had a hardcore conversation if it were me with him by saying, well, why would that even be scripted into the manuscript in the first place unless there's some contingencies that are not being discussed, or you don't find that much value and you're not certain of the value that I am bringing to your production company. But that's just me. Let's go, y'all.
Which the lawsuit says Derek understood to mean that his job security and role on this show was dependent upon his relationship with Tyler Perry and if he did or did not entertain Tyler's advances. During the time all of this is happening, the lawsuit says that Derek witnessed Tyler Perry killing off other characters of the show when the actors of those characters got on his bad side. So according to the lawsuit, Derek would accept invitations to Tyler's house and other harassing comments and messages, all in an effort to keep his job and for his character not to be killed off. There's more messages and more conversations referenced, and in particular, there's one around April of 2020, which is around the time filming for The Oval was put on hold because of COVID. And during this conversation, Tyler allegedly told Derek he imagined him prancing around in a cowboy outfit and Tyler doing things he couldn't talk about because they were so wrong. During this COVID period, the lawsuit says that Tyler would also send alcohol to Derek's house and then get on the phone with him and rant about his frustration of not getting some of the explicit things that he wanted. But the lawsuit says that Tyler Perry also told Derek not to tell other castmates about their newfound friendship.
Like that's not a red flag? I'm just asking. Is that a red flag? My bad, y'all. I didn't mean to do that. Is that not a red flag? Listen, I don't know how many flags need to be waved. So are you more interested in your coming up, in your financial success, in making the impact that your dreams pursue? What is it that is keeping you tolerating intolerable behavior, in your opinion, to the tune of $260 million? Okay? I mean, listen, I don't know if it's just me, y'all. I really don't. But when you're getting all of this transparency, no matter how he's wording it, you can read in between the lines. In my opinion, we living in a subliminal age. When it comes to social media, subliminals is king. People they can get away with being inconspicuous or unclear as to who they're talking about. But I mean, you give enough certain information out and you disclose enough facts, then guess what? People can figure out who you're speaking on. But Tyler Perry seemed to be very good at this if, in fact, the text messages are authentic and they are real. And I'm speaking from that place because I would just hope and pray that anybody going to sue somebody where their money is long like Tyler Perry, that they got their ducks in a row and their shit is in order. And I would also venture to say that because it took them 6 years to pursue this entire situation, file this lawsuit, that he was wanting to be very certain that he was going to win. And if not to the tune of $260 million, he would come away with something that would fatten his pockets enough to where he wouldn't have to worry about nothing anymore. And what the first person that comes to mind is Cassie. And that's all I'm going to say. Let's go.
In one text about this, Tyler says, quote, "Listen to me. If you let the cast know that you and I have a new friendship, then you are opening yourself up to a lot of questions and foolishness. You want them to know that you are there because of your talent and not because we have a friendship or because Tony got me to give you this job." Tony was the owner of the events company that Derek used to work for, and he's also a close friend of Tyler Perry's. You earn your spot like everyone else. Don't give people an opportunity to play you small or they will. That might be a word. He goes on to say, "Because when we go back to work, I'm not going to know you. I don't have any friends that work for me, my friend. Professionalism is key." Derek replies saying, "You're totally right. That makes total sense. Don't want to give anyone that opportunity because work is work." And then around August of 2020, when filming for the show picked back up, lawsuit says that Tyler Perry texted Derek about 2 cast members who had pissed him off and how he was now thinking about killing them off on the show.
Why would he text him that? We're going to assume that those texts, again, are authentic for the sake of context and conversation. Why, if it's true, why would he send him that? Fear and instilling fear is the enemy's number one tactic. If they can scare you, it makes their job just that much easier. That's all I'm going to say about that. Nothing else is needed. Exactly. A warning. Boom. Come on, Brooklyn lady Ellie. You own it. Let's go.
In this text, Tyler writes, quote, "But I swear to you, I know how to fix this ish. I love killing a MFer in a show that no one expects." He goes on to say, "Think about that last episode. They are all shot at. We don't know who lives." Derek replies, "I'm scared. They should be too." And then Tyler replies, "Nope, they're not. They are stupid to think that. So stupid." And then he goes on to say, "I'm going to have a come to Jesus moment with them." Derek alleges that Tyler Perry made these statements to him to instill fear in him.
Why would you throw Jesus' name up in that foolishness? Last time I checked, that's called blasphemy. But I digress.
Letting him know that if he didn't engage with Tyler Perry's advancements and harassment, he too could be killed off. Now, since Derek had aspirations of being a writer as well as an actor, he shared a pilot he had written with Tyler Perry, and Tyler responded talking about how good it was and that he had an interest in filming it. According to Derek, Tyler used this promise of filming Derek's show as further motivation to get him to do what he wanted, including dealing with Tyler's harassing comments and behavior.
Okay, so this isn't his lawsuit. This isn't his paperwork. In his paperwork, he said, or in his filing, he said, "I did it in order to secure my position with this, I don't know, series." I don't know if it was it had to be a series because he was on it regularly. I haven't seen it. Never even heard of it, to be honest. I stopped watching Tyler Perry. I didn't even know Straw was produced by Tyler Perry before somebody had recommended to me, and I just pushed play, or else I probably wouldn't have watched that either. I got my own personal reasons for that, not taking away the contribution from anything that he's done for his community, for his people, for the economy of where he lives and otherwise. I just wanted to say that. But why in the world, why would you acquiesce to that when you know that he's using a fear tactic, unless there was a price that he knew that you would pay? Why he kept pursuing, why he kept progressing toward the bottom line and hanging in there and upping the ante when there was a lack of response. According to this paperwork, He went radio silent for 5 months. And then Tyler Perry, as soon as he offered him a role on Oval, all of a sudden the communication picked back up and he signed the contract. I'm just saying.
As an example, the lawsuit includes a text exchange where Tyler Perry expressed some jealousy of seeing Derek with another man, and then later referenced Derek getting thick again in this same message. The text reads, quote, "Why did that photo make me jealous? You two together." Derek says, "I don't know, it's just Brad. He just wanted to go on a quick walk to get his steps in, and now I'm walking to Chipotle by myself." Tyler responds, "Thick Derek, get that Chipotle?" And then Derek replies, "Ha ha ha, can you tell from the photo?" Tyler says, "No, I can only from your jeans," to which Derek replies, "That's how I measure too. If I'm not filling them out, I'm not working hard enough." And
he gave him an explanation. For somebody that's not invested into a relationship and it's just a working arrangement, I would never sit back and explain why I was in the presence of somebody else to you because you said it irritated your spirit or you were jealous. I'm just saying, look, I got to say what I got to say. I'm sorry if I keep stopping it, but there is just, the red flags are all over the place. And it's just irritating me because at some point, neither one of them are using logic. Neither one of them are speaking of from a place of longevity. Okay, they're both seem like they're thinking. You got Derek Dixon seems like he's thinking allegedly of his financial status, of his financial security, as this is a come up. And then you got Tyler Perry making sure that he keeps his name intact, so he's got to be careful with his wording. But his carnal desire, again, if these texts are authentic and authenticated, he is sitting back like, okay, well, I'm still interested at the end of the day, to the point where I'm going to document through text messages how I feel about him, whether it's ambiguous, whether it's subjective or not. So we have to definitely just keep those things in mind because, again, this is a 6-year timeline, y'all.
then in what the lawsuit describes as another harassing text message, Tyler tells Derek, quote, "I feel sorry for the person that you choose. And what I mean by that is you're so beautiful. When you finally are able to unlock your mind, you're going to make that person crazy." Now, getting back to the shooting of The Oval, the lawsuit says that on the last day of filming the show, Tyler Perry invited Derek to his trailer for drinks, and once inside, Tyler asked him, quote, "Are you attracted to me?" Derek tells him that he isn't looking for anything intimate, but the suit says that Tyler continued making comments about how good Derek was looking and how he was wasting his looks by not being free and being intimate. According to the lawsuit, when Derek eventually got up to leave Tyler's trailer, Tyler pinned him against the wall and began groping him aggressively. The suit says when Derek didn't reciprocate any of the advances, Tyler allegedly told him he was drunk and asked him to leave.
Okay, so the only thing I want to say here is we going to see if he went back, if he continued to work for him, if he continued to have any type of correspondence and relationship with him after he felt so assaulted to the point where he feels comfortable with filing a $260 million lawsuit. Just because he got it doesn't mean that it's yours. I agree. Return of Mr. Oates, salute and blessings to you. Thank you for coming through. If you don't like the devil's game, stop playing in his yard. Stop participating. It was well said. Bingo.
According to the lawsuit, the harassing calls, texts, and interactions didn't stop there. The lawsuit says Tyler Perry invited the cast of The Oval on a trip to the Bahamas, and while Derek wanted to decline the offer, Derek knew declining the invitation could result in him getting erased off the show. So he agrees to go, and while on the trip, the suit says that after a party one night, Tyler Perry grabbed and groped Derek to the point that Derek was terrified and could barely sleep. There's also a text from this trip that's included in the lawsuit, and in this text, Tyler Perry sends Derek a picture of him in some swim trunks and standing next to a jet ski. Derek replies to the picture saying, "Nice picture," with 2 exclamation points, and then says, "Yeah, the water does look calm." And then Tyler replies to this saying, "Nice picture," with 4 question marks, and then Derek replies in all caps, "Great, amazing, awesome picture," with 3 exclamation points. Tyler replies again, "You don't see that stud in that quote, nice picture? Rude." Derek says, "LOL, yes, that's a stud." According to the lawsuit, this continued pattern of harassment from Tyler Perry made Derek so stressed out that he eventually went to go see a doctor and was giving an antidepressant to deal with what was happening. But according to the lawsuit, Tyler Perry's propositions and harassment continued into 2021, including in a text message where Derek said, quote, "I know I need to smell the roses more." Tyler replies, "You are the rose, but you are so blocked that you refuse to be smelt or opened." The lawsuit references other alleged comments made by Tyler Perry, including asking Derek things like, "What's it going to take for you to have guiltless intimacy? Have you found that yet in therapy?" And then at another time saying, "No straight man would be going on walks with you or cooking dinner for you unless they wanted to F you."
Okay, so that's a lot to unpack. Let me start off by saying, why does Tyler Perry know about your medical history, whether you're in therapy, whether you are taking medications? Well, maybe he didn't know about the medications part until the lawsuit came out, because that also surfaced and was entered into the lawsuit, that he became so stressed out that instead of saying no, or "I'm done," or "no thank you," he decided to maintain his current relationship with Tyler Perry, allegedly, then go to the doctor and get antidepressants and other medications in order to cope with the relationship and the dynamics thereof. Now, stop me when what I say is not a red flag. Put a 1 in the chat. Say it in the chat. Correct me with respect. I want to know, because I could be off and I'm not a man. Well, I don't really know if they classify themselves as men, but listen, that ain't my business. All I'm saying, and no judgment, but all I'm saying is there are intricate details of a person's life that the average person just does not divulge to their employer. I don't care how much money you make. Certain things are off limits that you should not and will not be privy to. But that's just how I roll, right? Ooh, child.
I would F you. The lawsuit describes another occasion that Derek went to Tyler Perry's house, in which he says he went over to discuss his pilot, but he says that after getting there and drinking, Tyler allegedly told him to stand on his weight monitor in only his underwear. Derek agrees and gets on the weight monitor in only his underwear, and when he does, the lawsuit says that Tyler Perry asked him for a hug, and when they went to embrace, Tyler allegedly pulled down Derek's underwear and began grabbing, groping, and playing with Derek's behind. Derek,
providing that's true, that wasn't enough to walk away? Just asking for me and asking for a stranger. That wasn't enough to walk away. So the man done, according to you and your lawsuit and your statements, the man done groped your inner thigh, done laid in the bed with you. You jump out the bed, you ask him what's going on, but you accept another role after that. You choose to still be in a position of solitude and isolation with this man where it's just you and him. So he turns around, and according to you, this is the next time that he attempts to physically put his hands on you. And that wasn't, you didn't walk away after that? I don't know. We're going to find out. We ain't got too much more to go. But I definitely, she summed up in 17 minutes, she summed up 46 pages. I can't do that. Not in 17 minutes. I can barely do that with her commentary and with her summarization. So Shout out to this young lady here and her page. Give me 1 second. I want to shout out her page it's on Instagram. Give me 1 second, y'all. I got a lot going on over here. Okay. It is I'm Not a Lawyer. All run together. I'm Not a Lawyer. If you want to go sub up to her. I haven't listened to a lot of her commentary or her content, but from this, I'm impressed. I just got to say. Let's go.
Said he reached to pull his underwear back up, but when he did, Tyler told him to, quote, relax, let it happen, and that he wasn't going to hurt him. The lawsuit says that Derek was desperate to get away, so he told Tyler that he couldn't be intimate with him because he was hungry, which resulted in Tyler Perry stopping what he was doing and ordering a pizza. According to the lawsuit, this night ended with Derek sleeping on the floor in the bathroom because that door could lock and the main door to the bedroom could not. After that last encounter, Derek began ignoring Tyler Perry, and when he finally did answer him, Tyler was apologetic and blamed his behavior on testosterone supplements that he had been taking. And
y'all pray for me. Pray for your girl. So you sleeping on the bathroom floor. You didn't get an Uber and leave. You went from the bedroom because you couldn't lock that door, which I don't know why you can't lock bedroom doors in somebody's house. And you went into the bathroom and you slept on the bathroom floor. Ain't no way. And then he says to you, it's the testosterone supplements. Now, you've been wearing a dress for the past 25 years. But you taking testosterone supplements? Child, okay, I'm done. I listen. I digress. Let's go.
Where they were referencing these supplements, Tyler says, quote, I love how I feel right now, but I don't like being corny. Derek says, oh yeah, from the doctor, but is it making you feel better? And then Tyler responds, quote, I feel so good, but I don't like being corny. I feel sorry for the first person that flirts with me. Following this conversation about the supplements and Tyler apologizing for his behavior, the lawsuit says that Tyler attempted to continue making the situation better by inviting Derek on a yacht trip, promising Derek to make his pilot, and then later offering to invite a third person on this yacht trip to make sure that Derek felt comfortable. But according to the lawsuit, Derek refused this invitation and the two of them stopped speaking for 5 months.
Okay, so I stand corrected. This is when they stopped speaking for 5 months, was after the second physical interaction and alleged unwanted advance. Okay, so this, I like this. Okay, so he actually, after this, he made the decision to not speak with him. Let's see if it stayed that way and if the lawsuit was filed shortly thereafter, or if there was more engagement and interaction between the two.
At some point during this break of not talking, the lawsuit says that Derek was contacted by members of Tyler's team, who the lawsuit calls fixers, and they tell Derek that he's going to be getting a new storyline. He's going to be getting a $6,000 per episode raise that would continue to increase over the coming seasons. And he was told that Tyler Perry wanted to buy the rights to produce his pilot and planned to spend $1 million on the production for it. According to the lawsuit, after getting this offer, Derek bowed to the pressure and fear of losing his livelihood and decided to return to working with Tyler.
Okay, so we got our answer. He wanted to emphasize that he withstood the pressure, that he avoided contact for a certain amount of time, how he felt while all of this was going on, but then he bowed down to the pressure of losing his livelihood. Listen, I got a question. Now, this is a genuine question, y'all. Normally, I've had a job or two where I felt like, okay, I don't think this is going to work out, whether they feel it ain't going to work out or whether I feel it's not going to work out. But the first thing I do is look for another means of income, another line of employment, another company to work for, or to do it myself. I'm looking for other opportunities and other, and I never worked for Tyler Perry. Okay. Now, while all of this was going on, while he was, I know that it can be a dark place and he can be blackballed and all of that. But remember something, when he was found, he was working in an event center. He wasn't acting, he was doing something totally different. He should have that to fall back on. Maybe not for Tyler Perry's events per se, but he should still be able to embark and go back upon his trade that he had before he got pulled from that trade into the acting realm. So none of that rang or registered any type of bell for you to say, maybe I should look for something else. At this point, I already know what he's capable of. He's told me what he has done to others, what he will do to me if I'm not complicit and I don't comply and I don't give him. He's already said he's not feeling this is all alleged. He's not feeling the things that he's not feeling this reciprocated equally on an equal level. Whatever he's giving me, he doesn't feel like he's either appreciated or he's getting what he wants in return, right? So you, through all of that, this man absolutely, in your words, assaulted you. And because he increased the wages and redefined the contract, you stayed. I don't know. I just don't have a lot of sympathy for him at this point. When I first started to hear the details of the story, I was like, okay. And that was just his side. But then when the lawsuit was broken down, and these are his representatives, his words, and his story, just based off of his story alone, things ain't adding up. There are more questions than there are answers, and that's just my personal opinion. Let's go.
However, when he received the scripts for the new season of The Oval, he realized his grocery store clerk role had been transformed into a male prostitute being pursued by a pimp. Well, now that's a leap. And according to him, elements of this character and this pimp resembled the dynamic that he had with Tyler, even down to conversations that the two of them had previously had. At some point after this is all ramping back up, Derek and Tyler finally get on the phone and have a discussion about the last time they saw each other and the assault. According to the lawsuit, in that conversation, Tyler blamed Derek for what happened and told him he needed to have a, quote, stronger no. The text message that's included in the lawsuit that references this conversation is very blurry, but from what I can see, it appears to be Derek telling Tyler that he's moving to Santa Monica, and Tyler saying that Santa Monica is nice, I'm glad you're going out there, and then saying, how is your no? You gotta have a strong no. Derek's response is even harder for me to read, so I'll skip down to the next message that Tyler sends, and that one says, quote, well, I don't think that, but I think that you have to be able to say no and mean it and make it clear. Fast forwarding to December of 2023, the lawsuit says an actor by the name of Christian Keys, who had also worked with Tyler Perry, posted a video on social media detailing his abusive experience with an anonymous Hollywood billionaire. And based on that video and his description, Derek says that he believes the billionaire Christian was referencing is Tyler Perry. And according to the lawsuit, around the time that this Christian Keys video came out, Tyler Perry reached out to Derek, really pushing to get his show done and telling him he had plans to sell it to a network, which Derek says was really Tyler Perry trying to keep him quiet. However, after months of back and forth and Tyler telling Derek that the president of his company misplaced the $1 million that was going to go to his show, the suit says Derek eventually realized that Tyler was never going to make his show and he was doing all of this to buy his silence and string him along. So he took the step of reporting the harassment that he says he experienced to the EEOC, and then later quit his job where he was standing to make about $400,000 to avoid continuing to be harassed and assaulted. The lawsuit says when Tyler Perry found out about this, he told Derek that if he told other cast members why he was really quitting, he would be in breach of his contract. And so the two came to an agreement that Derek would say he was going on a medical leave due to the stress caused by the harassment, and that leave would be considered paid medical leave. But
okay, so this is some stuff to unpack. First, I want to talk about the EEOC. So you can look at this from one or two different ways. If you are in support of and leaning on the side of Derek Dixon being more credible, he filed an official EEOC complaint in 2024. That was last year, indicating he went through formal channels not just media exposure. So he did actually take another route and another port of reinforcement and support from another source from the EEOC. Lord, if you're from this sector, that name, that's a household name at this point, the EEOC. But I will say that hopefully this individual used it in an honest fashion or in an authentic fashion and utilize them for what they are able to do for you and for the purpose that they're intended for, right? So I just wanted to say that. And if you are leaning more towards the side of Tyler Perry, as of now, the EEOC, according to the media, has not confirmed any findings. And without that, it remains a claim, not a proven violation. So if you know anything about the EEOC, they give you different opportunities or different options, and there is a definite timeline, right? And in order for the person that the complaint is against to respond, to dispute, to countersue, or to counterclaim, there are different positions in place, but he did take the avenue of the EEOC. Now, according to what the document says, just to reiterate what she was speaking on, is that Tyler Perry offered initially, or there was, I don't know if it was an agreement or if he made the offer initially, I'm not 100% sure on that, that he would give him a medical leave. And originally it was supposed to be paid. But then my understanding is once he filed the EEOC claim, then it went unpaid and he fired him anyway. Or he went through the channels in order to get him off of the series at that point. So I want her to say it because I'm a little skewed on the timeline with certain things. There's so much information to unpack here, but she's read it, so let's go off of her.
Derek says Tyler retaliated against him for reporting the harassment by making that leave unpaid, resulting in Derek not receiving any additional payments after he left. And now he's suing for all of that and more. He has a few causes of action, and the first is for quid pro quo harassment, which basically alleges that Tyler Perry offered Derek roles on shows and they promised to film his show in exchange for Derek agreeing to and engaging with Tyler Perry's advances. The second cause of action is work environment harassment, which is pretty self-explanatory. Derek says that this harassment occurred on set and in trailers, and that's where they work. And then there's also assault, battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, as well as retaliation, which has to do with Derek's claims that Tyler Perry ultimately decided not to pay him through that medical leave as retaliation for him reporting the harassment. And so that's the lawsuit, and we'll see what Tyler Perry has to say in his response.
He ended up not providing paid medical leave, right? And then according to Derek Dixon, he lost almost $400,000, right? Once his contract was canceled or whatever the case may be. But it's going to be interesting to see because we're very early in the stages of gaining information and in the early stages of this lawsuit that I'm sure there's going to be a lot of twists and turns, but I just wanted to bring my perspective. So until I see y'all next time or in the next chat or through the next live, for those that are catching the replay, if you just don't mind, or everybody, hit the like button. And for those that are catching the replay, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. So I appreciate everybody, and I will see y'all in the next chat. Peace.